Hey guys, when it comes to algebra, what does it mean when someone says slope or rate of change or the steepness of a line or rise over run? What does that mean? In this video, I'm going to show you what it means, and I'm going to show you that they all virtually mean the exact same thing, and it's just another way to explain what it is. So let's get started. So we're talking about rate of change or slope when it comes to algebra. So the rate of change basically is a ratio. It's the ratio of a quantity of a number compared to the quantity of another number. So say, for instance, if you're driving a car, you're going 50 miles an hour on average. So that is letting you know that there's a ratio of miles per hour. That ratio is giving you an average of how many miles you're going per hour. Or say if you're typing 60 words a minute, that is a ratio that's telling you that you're going at an average of 60 words per minute. It is comparing how many words that you're typing based on how many minutes are passing by. Or say, for instance, you're talking about how fast you're walking, the rate of speed that you're going, how many feet you're going per second. We can also look at this graph here that says time walking and distance walked. So for every second here, this represents S for seconds 1, 2, and 3. And this side, distance walked, represents feet. So for every 1 second, you went 4 feet. If you've gone 2 seconds, you went 8 feet. If you've gone 3 seconds or walked 3 seconds, you've gone 12 feet. So I'm going to show you how to calculate the rate of change or ratio or slope or steepness of a line based on these numbers. So when we look at a ratio or the rate of change, it shows that it's a change in what they call y over x if you're graphing it on a graphing calculator or on a graph. Or they will say rise over run. What do I mean by rise over run? Well, basically, if you have a graph, which is what I'm going to draw here, your x coordinates are here, horizontal, and your y coordinates are vertical. So let's say we graph this chart that I have right here. So usually a ratio represents distance over time. So we will allow our distance to be our y coordinate and then our time to be our x coordinate. So I will say this is 1, 2, and we'll say this is 3. And then we will say 4, 8, say 12 in feet. So let's look at this first row. So at 1 second, I walked 4 feet. So basically, we're representing that in this dot here. So you went up 4 and across 1. So the next, in 2 seconds, I went 8 feet. And in 3 seconds, I went 12 feet. So here are the dots that are going to represent the equation of the line that you just took. So if I can do this here, freehand-it. Let's see if we could do this. There we go. So if I were to ask you, what is the slope of this line? It would be the change in y over the change in x, or rise over run. So when I say rise over run, here's our rise, and here's our run. Say rise over run. So the way we can look at that is, let's look at these coordinates, each coordinate, based on the x and y axis. This coordinate is 3, 12. This coordinate is 2, 8. This coordinate is 1, 4. So since all of these are on the same line, you could take what they call the slope, or the rise or run, over two sets of coordinates, and they'd be the same. So let's take 3, 12 and 2, 8. So here are x, y coordinates. So we're going to say slope is the rate of change, which equals change in y over change in x. What will that look like? So we could say that that could be y2 minus y1 is the change over x2 minus x1. So if we've got these points 3, 12, 2, and 8, one represents x, one represents y, we could say our y2 minus y1 is 12 minus 8 over our 3 minus 2. See how that works? You're going to take your y coordinates, find out the change in those over your x coordinates. So we have 12 minus 8 is 4. 3 minus 2 is 1. So what is that rate of change? We get the number 4, but what does that actually mean? That 4 represents, what does our y represent? It represents our feet. What does x represent? The number of seconds. So this rate of change is 4 feet per second. So basically, based on this chart, it is saying whoever is walking with these distances and these times, it's happening at a rate of 4 feet per second. That is your slope. That is your rate of change. Now, let's try some other numbers. We have 2 and 8. Remember, these are on the same line. So 2 and 8, 1 and 4. Remember, we have x and y. Remember, I said the slope is change in y over change in x. So let's do 8 minus 4 over 2 minus 1. 8 minus 4 is 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. Here we have the same answer, 4 feet per second. See how that works? I hope that helps. So that is your rise over your run. You can also look at it that way. 4 over 1. That is your rise over your run. So that is how you find the slope of a line. The slope meaning if you were looking at this line here, this is your slope. Excuse me. Get back here. This would be your slope. Okay. So again, rate of change equals slope. Slope is represented by the letter M. And in another lesson, I'll show you how the slope is used to find the equation of a line. So the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, where the m represents the slope. the b represents the y-intercept. But we'll talk about that in another lesson. So I hope this helps. Slope means the rate of change, where you're comparing one quantity to another, such as you're going 50 miles an hour, or you're typing 60 words per minute, or you're walking feet per second. That is what the slope is. That is what the rate of change is. It is represented by the letter M. When you get ready to graph it, it is looked at as the rise over the run and the change in Y over the change in X on your graph. So I hope this helps. If this has helped you, send it off to someone else. If you have any other questions, send me a message and I can help you solve any problem you want and put it out on video. And we'll see you in the next video.